We need some new chairs.
We do need some new chairs. You know what? I do kind of like, I really enjoy the setup in the studio. And Ben has done a fantastic job with the video, because this is also out on YouTube. If you're not, if you're listening on Spotify, you can see this video. We've also posted it onto YouTube, so you can chuck it on your TV. Because I don't know.
Cast it.
Do you ever listen or watch podcasts on YouTube?
Yeah, it's nice. It's good background sound, but you can also then kind of lock in a little bit. It's kind of nice to see, lock in. But kind of nice to see the people having a little chat, isn't it, really? Excuse me, little Coke Zero fizzy.
I was chatting to a new client this morning, and he has a YouTube channel. He's getting his gold plaque today.
Hey, is he the one that guy had in the other day?
Yeah.
He was a couple years above us. Yeah. Aww.
And he's got his gold plaque, his million subscriber plaque. And we were talking about how like podcasting is now kind of a bit more into like that film type energy. And it's, long form. He said he's going to do, I won't say too much, but he's got obviously a 1 million subscriber special.
That's so cool.
I don't think I think he'd be right.
Fun. Yeah. No, we don't even know who it is, No.
But, if you are listening and you find that you might just want to chuck it in the background of when you're just sitting, scrolling, and you could just double up and have us on YouTube. Total Barnage on YouTube.
Double whammy.
But today we are not going to be talking about the state of podcasting and how it's rapidly catching up to film, and about how we should be doing premieres and probably go to Hollywood soon.
Should be. Hey, sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit.
Today is we're going to do a little recap sesh. It's me and Charlotte.
Hello.
And we're going to, well, first of all, let's talk about where you were at the weekend.
Oh, this weekend I had a very cool weekend. I went to the Arnold's Expo in the UK, which, for those of you who don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, he now holds an expo, which is like a big fitness expo held in the NEC in Birmingham, which is, I don't even know what it stands for, the National...
NEC?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. Something centre?
Something centre.
Exercise centre?
Exhibition centre?
Well, it could be the exhibition. Makes sense.
Yeah, anyway. Great. And we haven't had it in the UK for a couple of years now. I don't know why they didn't do it last year. I don't know if we've had it for 2 years, maybe. We haven't had it for 2 years, but they do it every year in the US. And it's like a big expo, but it also has a huge bodybuilding show, which is probably arguably one of the most important bodybuilding shows after the Olympia, and then some of the kind of big ones like the Pittsburgh Pro, the New York Pro and stuff like that. So really, really cool to see some of the greatest bodybuilders up on stage in real life. And oh my God, they're just insane. You cannot comprehend it until you see it. Like they are ridiculous. They don't look real.
Yeah, I can imagine it's the same as like when you see people running on the TV, as in like watching them as they're on TV, not like running over TVs.
Running on the TV.
And you go, I know they're running fast, but they're not running that fast. Yeah. And then you go to a track and you're like, oh my goodness, these people are quick.
These people are pace. Yeah.
So exactly. But even for you that, you've been to competitions, is it still one of those like, wow, this is maybe another level? Yeah, it was the first pro show I've ever watched. So, I've been to, obviously because I competed last year, so I've seen quite a lot of amateur competitions. I did an amateur pro qualifier, and I've also seen some sister competitions where I had a friend who was competing last year. So, you do see some pretty good athletes there, but the standard from amateur to pro it's mind-boggling. Like, as I said, you cannot comprehend it when you look at them. Like, they look like wax figures. And it's just so inspiring and it's so cool. And yeah, I mean, these pros as well, like there's going to a pro show and then there's going to a pro show where there are some of the best pros there. And these lot are like some of the best pros in their categories. So give me some names. Who were, we were talking before, Sam Sulek.
Yeah, you got Sam Sulek, Sam Sulek turned pro at the Arnold's in the States last year, which was really cool. So he is fresh into the pro realm, but a super popular bodybuilder just because of his YouTube as well. Like, people love him.
He's a great character.
He's a great character. And you know what? You can just tell as well, like, there's been a lot of controversy with him doing it on the Arnolds and stuff. And some it's a lot of amateurs as well going into him for his posing and, you know, saying like, you know, why is he there? Like a lot of hate. And the guy, he's not, you can see that he's not trying to be on stage to try and mog these
Mog?
Yeah, no, fully mog. Okay. To try and like outsize, or he just loves bodybuilding. And obviously, you know, at the end of the day, if you're pro, you're in competition with everybody, but you can tell he's up there and he's just enjoying himself. He's not trying to be, he's not getting head lost because he's not doing really well. He's genuinely smiling on the stage. You can see him, you can literally see him processing everything, standing on the side of the stage, just thinking, like looking around thinking, oh my God, like I'm up here. Because that guy has grinded for a long time and he's been passionate about bodybuilding for a long time. And it's just really nice to see. And there's just loads of people giving him hate. And like, it's like, oh, these people are such wieners, man. Just leave the boy alone. Like, he's just there for good vibes. Literally there for good vibes.
He does love the game. Like, yeah. I went to the Gymshark lift event, the Lift London back in November, maybe, something around then. And I mean, he was there. He did the podcast with Chris Williamson. And he's asking questions, a bit like a live podcast. And he is just one of those people that just loves the gym. Yeah. He does it because he loves it. I saw a video of him.
It's so sweet. It's so sweet.
Yeah, they were doing some sort of movement in the gym, or talking about some generic movement like day to day. And he was like, "Oh, that's like a tricep. That's like a behind the head like tricep extension." And he's just, you can see that his gym mind, like he sees everything in gym. And he's like, you can see that he just loves it. And I think is it quite cliquey then? When you're at the top?
The body, I mean, we've spoken about this before, but the world of bodybuilding is an interesting one. You meet some really lovely people within this industry, and then there's some people who just got, you know, massive egos, and some people who just aren't very friendly. Like, it's all a bit, but they all, like, you see the guys competing on stage and, you know, they're all fist bumping each other like at the end, because, you know, some of these guys have known each other for ages. So for example, the top two in men's classic, so you got Wesley Vissers, who is incredible. His nickname is the Dutch Oak. He's from the Netherlands. And then you got Mike Summerfield, who is German, and he is insane. And these two have been on the stage, I mean, I think since Classic was made a specific category. So for those of you who don't really know bodybuilding, so you got...
I also don't really know, but it's worth saying.
Exactly. So with bodybuilding, like the main three categories for men, you got men's physique, you've got classic, and then you've got open. So men's physique is, they wear board shorts, they wear slightly longer shorts, and basically, someone's going to absolutely roast me with this because I don't know the men's categories that well, but it's basically they have a slightly more top heavy physique. Now, they still need to have developed legs, but compared to when you look at the classic men and the open men, their legs are nowhere near as developed, but they still have good legs.
And is that why they hide them with the board shorts?
It's part of it, yeah. So it's more about showing, it's kind of like the aesthetic, kind of like a, you know, what most men like kind of training like, really. That's going to, most men, someone's going to roast me. I'm so bad. I'm overthinking everything I say, but yeah, kind of like a fitness model kind of vibe where they've got strong legs, solid legs, but they've also got that proper like kind of like Ken. Think about a Ken doll, right? Small waist.
Serious back track.
Yeah. Think about a Ken doll. Small waist, big shoulders, like very, very, and they look mental. And then you go into classic. So the difference between classic and open. So in the good old days, bodybuilding just used to be like open bodybuilding. So when Arnold stuff did it, it was all just like the same thing.
An open meaning no weight category.
No weight cap. Yeah. So I don't think there's a weight cap, but basically with classic there is a cap for your height. So if you are too heavy for your height and you can't cut to any, like, you know, you can't get any lighter, you have to go into the open category. Like if you are too dense and you cannot like fit in that cap when you do your prep, you have to move to open, basically.
It's just literally like a BMI.
Open it. I guess so, but just look at the difference between the open guys and the classic guys. Like, I mean, the classic guys are, and I actually, personally, I really like the look of the classic physique. No bias there or anything. But yeah, no, I think classic, if you think about classic now, you think about kind of how Arnold used to look, really. I think he kind of almost was, again, got to be careful what I say, but he was kind of like the blueprint for classic. Someone's going to roast me.
See, this is me. I'm
very
here,
nervous.
I don't, you know,
It's because the bodybuilding is quite toxic. So someone's going to come in and see this and go,
yeah, but I don't know. I always think that someone's going to say something, right?
I'm a female competitor. I don't know as much about the male, but equally, it's just as impressive, you know. And yeah, like it's just incredible. So Mike Summerfield, this is what I was going to say. So it was cool to see him compete because with the Arnolds in Ohio, which is like kind of arguably the slightly bigger Arnolds, it's the American Arnolds, he was meant to compete for it and he didn't make his weight cap. So he couldn't compete in Classic. Really? And, you know, he's one of the best Classic competitors there is. He was too heavy. So he managed to get his weight down for the UK Arnolds to fit in the cap, which was like, it was so nice because, so Wes won the Arnolds in the States and then Mike came and won the Arnolds in the UK. And oh my God, just both their physiques are absolutely incredible, but it was so cool to see them on stage.
Do they do the same poses? You have the same posing routine?
Yeah, so I think the Classic posing and the open posing, I think there's a few slightly different ones. So, like, you know, when Chris Bum said he retired, he went and did, was it Prague? And he then competed in the Open. Yeah, and he did a speech and then he competed in the Open just for a bit of fun because he'd finished with his Classic bodybuilding career. Like he was just, you know, he'd won the Olympia too many times.
Chris Bumstead.
Pulling a hammy.
Pulling hamstrings left, right, centre.
Bless him, man. But yeah, so he then competed in the Open just because he's always loved it. And, you know, there are some slightly different poses. But yeah, it's very cool to see. And it's really funny how, you know, you watch the crowd just get so excited over just these people who are basically half naked on the stage going, yeah. But it's cool, man. It's cool. And it's inspirational because obviously I'm kind of into that world a bit more now. And, you know, seeing these wellness pros, like I missed the bikini pre-judging on Saturday, which was annoying, but I saw the wellness finals on Friday. Oh my God. Their glutes look like they're just like 4D. Like I can show you, like they were incredible. And the coolest thing for me is I met the top two in the comp. So I met Hayani Fogal, she's Brazilian, and then Giselle Machado, who is also Brazilian. And they looked mental in real life. I got a picture of them. I walked off and I was like, this is crazy.
Fangirling.
I've been following for ages, and yeah, fangirling and they were so lovely as well. They were so lovely, but yeah, they just don't look real. Yeah, they just don't look real.
But then when you chat to them, is it kind of like because they're on stage, or even when you talk to them, because everything is very aesthetic and clean?
Yeah.
Like, does it still seem a little bit like it's like superimposed because it's so, you know what I mean? It's so aesthetic.
Well, it also just like, you know, they come all the way from Brazil, so you just don't think you're going to meet these kind of people. And to meet them is mega. And they, yeah, like, obviously, like, you know, their English is pretty good as well, but like, obviously there's only so much they kind of can say. Like, they're all pretty good at English now, and I think a lot of them are learning it because, you know, when they do competitions, you know, the main thing they speak is English when they win. But yeah, it's just really cool. It's like the only word I can kind of use, like just so cool.
Yeah. Does it inspire you in your training at the moment? Obviously, you're not competing this year.
Yeah. It really does. It really does. Like to see that, it's like, damn, I need to go and train glutes a bit more. Like, fuck. Yeah.
It's so interesting though, because you'd assume, like, you always think, you know, for the most part, the way that you do your training and the way that everything is structured, you're kind of doing everything you can.
Yeah.
And you always think you can do everything you can.
Yeah.
And then you go to an event where you see the people that, you know, you kind of aspire to be on the same level as them, or even if you're going on your own journey, like that's the people that you're going to be competing against. And, you know, if, you know, when, let's say.
If I hop on assistance.
Maybe not. Yeah. But like you go there, you're inspired to do more. Like, it kind of highlights that there's always still more that you can do.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
If you were, okay, so obviously you've looked at, you know, glutes, improve your glutes. How would you then, like, it's a well and good saying, oh, you know, you go and, like, maybe you train differently.
Show you a picture of their legs.
What would you do, like, would there be, what would you do? Because obviously you've got the programming that works for you.
Yeah.
And you then also have the knowledge already of maybe how these girls are training.
I think, I mean, and this is Alexis, like, she's incredible. Look at the legs. Wow. I think with bodybuilding, why did I say it like that?
With bodybuilding.
I think for a lot of people as well, it's a matter of time and also genetics. So, you know, I've only been training specifically for this category and like kind of training specifically for bodybuilding. Like, I've been training, you know, since I was 15 years old, but to kind of train towards this category and train with intent and have like a direction to go on, you know, I've only been doing it for basically like 2 years. Yeah. So I was with my coach and then I competed. So I did like a small off season and then I went into prep. But luckily I had the density, you know, for an amateur, I had a decent amount of density there. But, you know, some of these people have been competing since like 2016, even less, you know, even further back than that. So it's time and having that muscle maturity. And you can see like these people have been training for years, like specifically for this category. And it just looks mental.
So is it more so not what you're doing day to day, but considering how long you're going to be training for at that level?
I think it is also like what you do day to day. Like, you know, the people who are, what's the word? What's that saying? It's like hard work. What's the word? What's the thing? It's basically about like genetics versus being a hard worker. Like, and, you know, people to an extent, you know, you have to have decent genetics, you have decent structure, but you know, the people who are working hard and really pushing for it will outperform, to an extent, people with good genetics if they're not doing enough to put
talent, isn't it? It's like
hard
work
work
beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah, exactly that. That's what you know.
Hard work beats genetics when genetics
don't genetic. Yeah. Genetique. But yeah, no, like you need to have decent genetics for like to fit into your category. But you know, if you're not working hard, like I know some people who are bang on it with their meals. Like, you know, I would say I'm pretty good with my stuff. You know, I have a few off plans because I need variety in my life, but I'm very good at sticking to my training. I like what I'm training for now and I enjoy my sessions as well. So I'm good with that. But you know, you get people who will travel everywhere and they will meal prep everything and be bang on with their macros all the time. So then when they do go into their stuff, you know, they know what they've done. They know they've done everything that they can do. And those people who kind of can live that robotic life, they do smash it. And you see like these pros, and I know a few pros now, and they do just hit every single marker with a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Because it's their sport, you know, it's their professional sport. Like any sport, you have to kind of stick to it. Otherwise, you will get people who are doing that extra 1%.
Someone is going to be doing better.
Yeah.
But then it's also, you know, if you're in the sport for so long, it allows you to find time to create your own like personal philosophy.
Yeah, exactly.
The way that you do things. And so I assume, you know, these girls that have been doing it for a good decade have had a good learning experience over the first couple of years, and then, you know, maybe sometimes you become more relaxed, you know, but still doing the same amount of work.
Yeah, exactly. And I think some people also, when you look at your physique as well, like for me, me and my coach have clocked that actually my physique actually, I think we found it kind of, I look better when I'm doing less. So, you know, we started a cut and we were doing a lot of stuff, like we were doing Stairmaster stuff, because I thought, okay, we need to change it up from how I did prep, because I lost my cycle really quickly. And I found, for me personally, so I get stressed very easily. I'm a big stress head, and for me, if I am very stressed, that's the first thing that will go. And, you know, I can't lose that. I lost it for 10 months at prep, and, you know, that's not good to have that. So we clocked when I went into the dieting phase, my cycle was late again, and was like, we need to change this up. So we reduced my output, but we just reduced my calories. But because my output was lower, I'm not stressed, I'm not hungry, because I'm not tired from kind of doing X, Y, and Z. And that worked really well for me. Whereas for some people, they really need to grind and push with it. But for me, actually, I look better with, less stress.
Yeah. Well, you go to your capacity. And it is worth saying, like, you know, you can have people that work. It's the same in the running world, in the sense that, you know, some people work better off higher mileage, more running. I probably won't when I come back from injury. Yeah, it's not going to be a case of like pushing the limits and trying to maximize everything. Yeah, you got to find that personal. Like,
you need to ensure like recovery is so important. Like that's and I think that's a big thing that we've kind of, for me, we've clocked, and I know for a lot of people, like, and it's again the same with any sport. Like if you're not recovering well, then you're kind of, what's the word, cashing in debt that you can't keep up on, can't afford.
Racking up debt
You
can't pay back.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's true. So do you find you feel more kind of less stressed, more at peace with your
oh my God, yeah.
training? How much have you dropped the volume or?
So it's not so much with the training, it's with like extra output. So, you know, as a coach, you're the same. Like, we're on our feet a lot in the day, but that might not necessarily mean that we've hit 12k steps. So what I used to have is like, I used to be doing 12k steps every single day. And that would mean I have to get up, go for a walk in the morning. You know, then I might go and train that day, and then I'm coaching in the day, and then I get home and I might have only done like 8,000 steps. So then I get home and it's been a long day. Say I'm working till 7 p.m. I get home, it's about 8. And then I want to have dinner. I need to go to bed early as well because recovery. But then I've got home and I haven't done those steps. So I'm then on a walking pad and it's 9 o'clock at that point. And I'm in that kind of stress state where I don't stop. And I think that's where we kind of clocked. And I said to him, I was like, can we just try just reducing my steps down? I'm fine to drop the calories if that's what we need to do. But we've done that. You know, now in the morning, I'm not having to get up early to go on a walk. And even though I like doing that, and I'll sometimes do it on the weekend, making it into like this mandatory thing where I have to do it. Because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to do my steps, and I'll get home and I still have to do steps. And I remember my mum just saying to me, like, you don't really stop, do you? And, you know, when you realise that, and then you're like, Menti be pending. And now, you know, most days with 8,500 steps, I get home and I can just put my feet up, and it's really nice. I've just found recently, like I said to my coach, I was like, I just feel really chilled, and it's really nice to not be in that kind of fight or flight. Because I fall into that. And then I think when I'm in that state as well, it reflects on work as well, and I can get stressed and I can get a bit snippy, and it's just that's not me. It's not who I am. So yeah, it's a good little snippet of information. Sometimes you need to do less guys.
But less, not necessarily. First of all, I'm glad that, you know, you're able to switch things up, right? I think, you know, sometimes it takes years of it being able to change an approach for the fear of not making enough progress. You know, you can get stuck in that cycle of not making enough progress for ages and keep going like, right, all I've got to do is more. But it is worth considering, and it makes, when you're in it, it's very difficult to have the clarity. Yeah. You look at the numbers and you say, okay, I need to hit this step count. I need to get this amount of sleep. I need to recover. I need to hit the training. But then there's loads of stuff that's not on the spreadsheet. And those are the things that like really impact. And
I think that's it exactly, like mentally as well. I think especially now with society and how a lot of stuff you get online where you kind of, I don't know about you, but I live with the narrative for a long time. It's like, you're just not doing enough. This isn't enough. You're not doing enough. Like, you can't. And I think it's so toxic, and sometimes like little things like that can fuel it. So like you get home, so, oh, but I haven't done that. That's not enough. And then, you know, say we're trying to post stuff online. That's something I've been struggling with quite a lot recently. It's like, you know, I feel like I'm not doing enough online. I feel like I'm not posting enough content. And, you know, there's such a pressure with that. And sometimes you just have to take a little step back and just say, look, it's all right to just chill out a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's quite a good thing to kind of tail off into, isn't it? Obviously, we're kind of recapping over the Arnolds, but like just going over like pressures of stuff that you see online, especially kind of around our age. I don't know. I'm really, this is Tangent City, baby. But that's been something that's playing on my mind, and we're doing a bit of an update, aren't we, at the moment? So, yeah. I
think it is, you know, and it's really tough because also a lot of the times you try and work out like what you can do on your best days and even like your best weeks. And if you have a good few weeks where, you know, a lot of things you can kind of fit in, you're able to spin plates pretty well. You add one extra thing in and it changes like mathematically as well, the amount of variables. Just adding, let's say you're focusing on working on two things in your life. Yeah. Let's say it's your work and your training. Let's say if you add in a third, let's say you really also want to do the social, that isn't just adding one thing. It then adds a lot of things onto that, which is then like all the time constraints and stuff. You then add a fourth thing onto there, being that you said you wanted to start learning an instrument or something, or you wanted to post on socials or something exactly. Like that. That's then you go from like something that's really simple, then a lot more complex, and then so much more complex. But you think, I just added one more thing. Like it's only taking 30 minutes extra a day. But as soon as one thing slips, like then others kind of might go with it. And I've had a similar thing recently. A lot of the time for me, coming back from recovery from like surgery,
exactly,
is always questioning like, what is the thing that's going to make the contribution? Like, what's the essential thing right now? Like tomorrow, I'd early start yesterday. Clock's gone forward, at the weekend. Early start yesterday. Went to see the physio, then trained. Early start today, lots of coaching. Then I've got stuff to do because I'm going on a stag do this weekend.
Oy.
And I'm really fun, by the way.
Yeah,
so
he's a very fun boy.
I'm planning on getting all of my training done, and hopefully
Fit
not
in
going
the
to
week,
the gym in the morning of the stag when we're up in Edinburgh.
Yeah, that's stress.
And then the gym's decided to shut. Foundry gym decided to shut for like 3 days this week, and it's, what I could do is I could go as a guest to my stepdad to go to Snap, but he goes at 5:45 in the morning. So I could do that and I could train. But if I look at my sleep and I look at the training capacity and I actually look at the time that I spend in the gym, like a lot of it is like 6 hours a week is cardio, 5 hours a week is rehab, and then 2 to 3 hours a week is like general leg strengthening and like core and stuff like that. I could just scrap the cardio. That's not really that essential. But if I got into a process of like, a system of being like, right, this is my day where I go an hour on the bike. I need to do it. Or tonight I need to do a ski erg session. I need to also do my rehab. It's making a decision, like letting go of the thing where I go, okay, maybe it's not going to make a huge difference. And actually me having a Wednesday completely off, or instead of having one rest day a week, which I normally do and can manage with that, I have 2 rest days.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's because you kind of zoom out a little bit, and even saying it, you can zoom out and be like, actually, it's probably what's best.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, do you find like at the start when you were like kind of strict on your recovery protocol, if things kind of did get in the way, did you feel a bit like tetchy about it, or how did you kind of manage that?
I think I've prepared a lot of it over the last couple of years. I quite deeply understand now that recovery is a lot more just about the, like, let's say, protocols itself. It's a lot more about the things that I do. I realized a few years back when I was trying to replicate training from when I was in really good shape, I tried to replicate it and it didn't work because I wasn't in the same headspace. I didn't have the same like approach to training. And so my recovery, like let's say protocols now, the thing that I focus on is make sure I'm getting the work done, make sure I'm getting the nutrition in, but have like a loose grip on the rest of it. Yeah. Which is why like I'll make sure that I do the thing that's most important, and then other things, like if I can do them, then great. If not, then it's okay because I'll do the main thing. Yeah, exactly. And I think for me, it's like my last 8 weeks have been really long because I've been doing so much. Like I've never done 12 to 15 hour training weeks, like strength and cardio. Yeah. I never do that when I'm running. Do you ever kind of get that where you feel like you're a bit non-stop and you just need to sit for a second and be like, phew. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, my drive to and from work being 40 minutes. Yeah. I've had a couple of times where I just won't have any audio or anything. You just need a bit of silence. I literally just have the silence. And I think that that's the thing that I've noticed, like if something's arising that I'm going a bit fast or a little bit spaced out, or I'm, a bit robotic, a little bit too zoomed in. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe just like reactive, then I can look at it and go, first of all, it's probably my sleep. Yeah. Literally my sleep. Like that's what it is. It's so valid. Yeah. So valid. Like I think we're very different in that sense where I feel like you are pretty good at managing your stress. And I think when I've had a few little wobbles with you, the first thing you do is like, show me your sleep. Right, go on. Let's get your stats up. After comforting you and making sure you're all right. Yeah. No. You just say, shut up. Show me your sleep. Let me see your sleep stats. And you do actually, every time we've spoken about it, like you gone, sleep's not that great, mate. It's a bit inconsistent. And then when I've worked on it, surprise, I felt much better, lads. It's mad, isn't it? And it is, I think a lot of people, it's something that people overlook so much. Like it's such a key thing that people overlook. And, some people just do struggle with it. And I found my sleep has been, it's the past few weeks has been a little bit more inconsistent, but I found it being so good when I've been, like my sleep has just been
Like as soon as we spoke about this the other day, you know, head's been hitting the pillow and bow, I'm out. Yeah. Literally done. So yeah, get your sleep, guys. Very important. Yeah. Very important notice of the day.
The sleep's crazy. I mean, last night I was so pollened up with my hay fever. I was basically drowning in my own, I don't know what to call
mucus.
I was just like coughing, going, oh no, what's going on? But then it's, you know, and I look at it for a couple of days. Like one bad night's sleep doesn't matter too much. I always have this before races, is you make sure that you get sleep, like good sleep and good hydration and good nutrition. Like if you're not doing it already, just focus on like 4 days out.
Basics.
You know, and go like, Tuesday night, if I'm racing on a Saturday, make sure that from Tuesday night, I'm maybe tapering down. The training might be like, you know, easing up a little bit for the weekend. And then making sure I get those nights of sleep in, because if I'm relying on having a good night's sleep before the race, and then I've got like the nerves or I've got, you know, a little bit of stress and I'm thinking, or, you know, I'm trying to work out scenarios, tactics and things, then I don't have the other nights to just put me at ease. Yeah. And actually, like a lot of people would, if they have a competition or something, it's not necessarily on that day. Like they can get away with having bad sleep, but it's like 2 to 3 days in a row, or even weeks, months, like years.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I realised that sleep was pretty much the foundation on which all of the other pillars of nutrition and training like sit.
Yeah.
It was so obvious to me that it's the first thing I go to.
Yeah.
The first thing.
I think you would have been so much worse off if you weren't so good with your sleep, like in terms of your knee as well. Like I feel like your knee would have been absolutely fuggered if you weren't as good with your recovery and with your sleep, you know, regardless of how bad your injury was. Like, let's not discredit that, but can you imagine how shit it would have been if you weren't prior to getting the op? Yeah. I feel like it would have been so much worse because you weren't letting your body even have that extra 1% chance of recovery. Like I can't even fathom. Like if it was me in the same situation, I'd be peg leg. I wouldn't even have a leg anymore. I'd chop it off.
Well, maybe they would have done it earlier.
It's too far gone.
Who knows? Might have been a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's but I think most of it 100% on the, you know, on the stress side.
Yeah.
Like just being able to manage, and things will speed up without you realizing. Like you kind of pack things in, and you don't give time just to breathe and do nothing.
So important. Yeah. And I didn't realize how important it was because I'd kind of been in that robotic, okay, I need to get home, I need to do my steps, I need to do this and blah, blah, I need to prep this meal, blah, 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 blah. And I suddenly had this realization. I think it took a couple of times of, you know, my mum and, you know, my dad as well. And they're never someone, the kind of people, or just my family in general, aren't the kind of people that will say that because they're, you know, they don't like me doing stuff when they're like sitting around. It's just an observation. I've got a really active family, and they're just like, you're not really stopping. You kind of, you know, you get home and you can't just chill. You know, you get home and you're on the walking pad, and we're all having dinner, and then you're cooking dinner and it's late. And it took a few times of them to say that. And then I was like, yeah, this isn't how I used to be. And, you know, my recovery was arguably a lot better when I was kind of just reducing my output, because this was what I was trying to say. Like, I think I did say it earlier. It's not like a broken record then. But, you know, we've got a very physical job. So we might not be getting a lot of steps, but we might be cleaning up someone's bar onto the thing when we're helping out a client and putting weights on and not taking weights off, and kind of doing that the whole day. You're expelling the same amount of energy as, say, you are doing 12K steps. Yeah. So, yeah.
How do you... It's an interesting one. You kind of highlighted having advice from, let's say, parents or friends that kind of can see the situation you're in, but might not fully like understand it.
Gauge it, yeah.
How do you get the balance right between taking the advice and being like, actually, like, you've got a point, or just turning around and saying, you don't understand. Like, this is just what it takes.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I think you have to be selective with who you take advice from, because there's that saying, I can't remember the specific saying, but it's about, like, you know, not taking advice from someone who's never gone where you want to go, right? And I think that's a really, really good saying. But I also do believe, like, you know, with your family, because my family really support what I do. Like, I think I think as we've spoken about quite a lot, bodybuilding is a pretty controversial sport. And I know a lot of people who do it whose families just are like, oh, are you training again? Like they're just constantly kind of taking the mick out of them for like meal prepping stuff and, oh, when are you going to be normal again? Saying stuff like that. And I think, you know, for a lot of people, like that structure and routine is really good for some people, and, you know, at least they're normal. And my family have never hit me with that, oh, when are you going to be normal again? You know, they are really supportive. So for me, you know, as much as I do quite like that saying, like, you know, don't take advice from someone who, you know, doesn't want to go where you go, I also really appreciate my family's opinion, because I know that they really support me and they do have my best interest in mind, and they, you know, they support what I'm doing. So in terms of how I navigate it, it's hard. I think when I was in prep, when they were saying, oh, don't you think you're doing too much? I knew that, no, actually, I just had to follow what my coach has said.
It's just extreme. Yeah,
it's extreme. And, you know, my coach really knows what he's doing. He's got my best interest in heart. And actually, you know, I look at some of the other protocols that other girls that I was competing against were on, you know, minus sub 1,000 calories, and steps were crazy, and they're on the Stairmaster every single day. The stuff that my coach made me do was pretty simple, and it got me into really good shape. So I really trust his opinion, and I know he also really cares about his clients. He's not just kind of seeing us as numbers. So in that thing, you know, I mean, I was just a bit snappy on prep anyway, but I just didn't really listen to other people's opinions. I just kind of put it to the side. But like, you know, in my off season, when I am trying to push with other stuff, and I, you know, trying to grow business, and, you know, the work that we've got here as well, like I take on board people who I appreciate's opinion a little bit more, if that makes sense. And I know that it is a level-headed thing to say. And, you know, when I look at it from the outset, if I am doing too much, then yeah, like I had to take a step back and go, okay, yeah, I am kind of stressed 24/7, and I'm not giving myself a chance to breathe. And, you know, being a little crazy scatty brain that I am as well, you do need that time to just go and just like chill out. So I think, yeah, there's a time and a place for taking advice from people who aren't doing what you're doing. But when they're people that I'm just repeating what I'm saying, aren't I? But when they're
I think
people,
it's a good point.
When they're people who know you and know that, you know, I've competed in sports like my whole life. They know that I'm not myself. I just took their advice a little bit, and it's worked out for the best.
Because I think it is the most important thing. The thing that comes to my head straight away is like, it's a difficult thing even with people that know you, let alone trying to take advice on the internet from people who've got no idea about you, and just seeing like, if your algorithm is people saying, right, you need to grind, don't take rest days. Like, if you're resting, I'm training, you're behind.
Oh, it's toxic.
You know,
it's so toxic.
It's difficult enough in real life, then add the online life.
The pressure.
How are you able to, you know, filter it?
Yeah.
And I think it is, you know, I always see that the advice is like, if it does make you feel a certain type of way, like if you feel uncomfortable from someone saying that you're training too hard, maybe there is some truth in, and it makes you feel like, oh, okay, maybe it's worth exploring that. Like, am I doing what's best for me? Because if I was really like comfortable in it, would I have reacted that way? Yeah. Unless you're on the flip side, right? And it's just like complete utter delusion. Yeah. And you're not even going to take advice from anyone.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's complex. I think it's hard to say in isolated like situations. I think there's always, I have like a budget that I just expect of people that will give advice. Yeah. I mean, injury, like especially being visible, the amount of times that I've been talking about my injury, people asking, and it's all out of good, you know, good faith, and they're like really curious, is people will express concerns for me moving in a certain way, being like, oh, you sure you can lift that and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. It's
being self-aware, isn't it, right? Yeah.
But it's also saying like, yeah, actually, you might have just caught me at a point where I wasn't paying any attention. Probably shouldn't be lifting that yet. Probably need to back off. Yeah. And like having a bit of, I guess it's maybe like humility or distance with your own training as well. Like if you can, and that's the thing with slowing down, is you're the one that's experiencing your own training in your own life. If you can gain a bit of distance from that and separate yourself from that, it then gives you a better perspective. Yeah. And you can easily have more clarity of if what you're doing is probably right for the moment.
Yeah.
My stuff's just writing things down.
Yeah, definitely. So.
Got a new journal.
Hey, it's a lovely journal as well, Charles. It's a very nice journal. It's got planets on.
It has got planets on.
Planets. Yeah. Very philosophical.
Oh, you know what I wrote? The first thing, that journal that I wrote. I was like, why did I buy this one? Because I'm in the shop and I went and bought it. I'm so weird.
Cool. It's cool,
why
man.
Did I buy this exact one? And I said, because it felt right and I wanted to buy it. I said, that's a good enough reason.
Because it felt right. And that is literally going back to what we were talking about. You know, if it feels right, it's self-reflection with these things, I think. A big, big thing. And that's something that I've been trying to focus on a little bit more recently. You know, people will say something that's an opinion. Give yourself some time to think about that and think about how the situation, regardless of that person's opinion, does make you feel. And that's self-reflection. And it's it's a wonderful thing.
Sometimes uncomfortable.
Sometimes incredibly uncomfortable. And, you know, making you make a change to your routine that you've been setting for a while as well. It can be nerve-wracking, but just taking that little step like you did, you know, originally with a different decision, you know, sometimes it works out for the best.
I do think, like, I kind of think about when I've made changes in and taking advice. A lot of it is online. A lot of it is from podcasts that I listen to. But the difference is that it's not necessarily like I can't listen to podcasts about cross training or about coming back from specific injuries because there aren't any, and I'm not going to listen to them for the most part. I'm doing the thing, and so I'll listen to podcasts that are about something that's like not running related. But a lot of the time, if it's like in a business space, it's someone talking about their business and growing and working with people or something. Cool. Most of the advice that I take is from that, but then I apply it
to what you're doing,
to what I'm doing.
Yeah,
because maybe it just doesn't have that same like threat to my identity, and I'm more willing to change it because I go, they're not pointing fingers about me for operating. It's more like, oh, that person's doing things differently. I wonder if it works for my thing. Let me see if I try it out. If not, it wasn't even meant for me anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. You know.
That's really interesting, actually. I like that.
That's it. What else is at the Arnolds then? What else did you? You fangirled.
I fangirled heavily, but there was also some other bits and bobs out there which were quite cool. I think for people who are interested in like strongman, strong women. There were strongman and strong women comps. I caught a little glimpse of it, but I was a little bit more tuned into the kind of bodybuilding stuff. And there was a powerlifting competitions there as well, which was sick. Some very, very strong people. What else was there? There were lots of stalls with lots of different kind of supplement brands. So the brand that I'm with, ESN, they had a stall. Very, very Coach Arnold. They had a really sick stall. And coolest thing is, Wes Vissers, so the guy that came second, he's actually with ESN. I think he's still with ESN. Hopefully. Pretty sure he is. Some big bodybuilders that are with them. So we had some cool people on the stand. And they had a 110 kg dumbbell. And if you could hold it for 10 seconds, single, and it had a thick grip as well. So they made it quite hard. And if you could hold it for like 10 seconds, or even, I think it was actually just pick it up with one hand. You got they gave away some samples, and the people that I was with tried to do it. And then they were letting a girl do it with two hands. I was like, oh, can I try it with two hands? Obviously, a piece of cake, just held it for 10 seconds and I got loads of samples of that.
Real?
Thanks guys, probably don't really need these, but
yeah, I've already got them.
Yeah,
but it's okay because I've got a mate called Charlie and he would really like to have them.
Charles, do you like IsoClear?
IsoClear?
A clear way.
Yeah, go on then, why not?
I can bring in some bits and bobs. Hey, they've actually got some fun actually, I don't think I'm supposed to talk about it, but they've got some fun things launching, which I'll let you know. Post podcast, but so there was that stall, and the other big kind of supplement brands around there as well, which were cool. And I just met some really cool people. I met a few other pros who I really like as well. So I met a wellness pro called Chelsea Warnes, who I followed for a while, spoken to online. She's really lovely. She was just working on stand, and I just went up to her. I was like, Chelsea, and she recognised me, and I was like, oh my god! And we had a little chat for a while. She was lovely. And then there's this Spanish pro called Ruth Petisco, I think that's how you say her name. She was really nice. So she was at the finals. So her partner is a photographer, a very good kind of fitness photographer who does a lot of events. So I think he was doing a bit of the photography for the show. So I chatted to her for a bit, but yeah, it was just cool, man. There were some very, very cool people. A lot of like Gymshark athletes there.
Okay, yeah.
Loads of Gymshark athletes, there, so VQ athletes, like all of that. Yeah, Sam Sulek was there. Well, yeah, competing.
Did that mean that there was a big Gymshark team?
Yeah, but Gymshark didn't have a stall there. It was funny, and also the Arnold's was sponsored by Young LA, but Young LA didn't have a stall there. And like Young LA, yeah, they're just one of like hip, cool clothing brands. But yeah, there weren't really any kind of big activewear brands there. There was, I don't know if you've heard of Gym Reapers. They were there.
Gym Reapers.
Yeah, it's very bodybuilding core. But yeah, there was some kind of smaller like apparel brands there, but mainly supplement brands and also like gym machine brands. So like Panata were there. I think they were called Body Power, something like that. Anyway, yeah, it's just
look it up.
Go
on the photos.
Only thing that was very disappointing. So there were some food stalls. We're not going to talk about those. We're not going to talk about those. But they're only like usually. Oh God, don't talk about it. Pulled chicken tacos. Don't eat those guys. But there were usually like at bodybuilding shows they have like a lot of people like the post-show treats, right? The big chunky cookies. There were none of those stalls. I thought they were going to have loads of them. I was like, I really wanted a nice little cookie. There was a fudge stall, but I didn't really want any fudge, to be honest.
Also, there's only so much fudge you can eat.
I know, fudge is a bit... Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Couples in bodybuilding. You said one of the bodybuilders, her boyfriend, husband, is a photographer.
Yes.
What's the general, like, do bodybuilders go out with other bodybuilders?
Yeah.
Is it all kept in within the wellness side? Because I imagine it's quite a, extreme lifestyle. And you have to be obviously either very like supportive as a partner, or you kind of have to know what's
or understand it, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that's a great topic to speak about, really. Like you get a lot of bodybuilders will date, marry other bodybuilders because it is really nice when someone just understands what you're doing. And, I've dated people in the past who might have been into the gym, but then they don't really get bodybuilding to an extent. And, you might be on a cut and they're like, they're not very supportive with that thing. And when you're trying to be regimented, it's just nice to know someone who just knows you're doing that for that kind of reason. And you have to it's also very normal to date someone who doesn't bodybuild. Like I know a lot of people who date people who aren't into the gym at all and they're bodybuilders. But yeah, you get a lot of kind of pros that are together. What's his bloody name? What is it completely? Martin Fitzwater, for example. So he's a really good open pro bodybuilder and he's dating Alexis. I can't remember her surname, but she's called Alexis Nicole on Instagram. So she's the one I showed you, the one with the wham legs. So she's incredible. So I think she came fourth in wellness and he came fourth in open. But they're together. You get a lot of people.
Both outside of the medals.
Huh?
That's peak.
Oh, that is a touchy subject, especially for Martin Fitzwater, bless him. But yeah, they're great bodybuilders and they're together, and it can work really well. I think most of the time, bodybuilding couples do work really well together because you can go and train together, and there's lots of things that you have in common, and you share the same lifestyle, right? The thing a few couples also with like just prepping. So say you're doing a competition, that's just one thing that a lot of couples will face. It's like, ooh, are we going to be okay on prep together? Because when you're both starving and when you're both kind of...
Who's going to carry the boats?
Yeah, who's going to carry the boats? Who's going to be the 80% when you're 20%? Do you know what I mean? If you're both 20%. But a lot of couples do it really well together. So I think, it's a really common thing. It's a really, really common thing to date other bodybuilders.
Two people that are just mega stressy and low energy. That's vibes in the house.
Well, the thing is, some people manage their preps really well. I don't.
Okay, all right. So all this time I've been thinking like, people get really angry and start like throwing, potatoes at other people.
Did you meet me when I was on
7 a.m. I joined the gym when you were...
Was I still on prep?
Yeah. First couple of weeks. My first impression of you was that you were just,
quiet.
Quiet's the word, yeah. And
weak.
Slightly weak.
And then I had a couple of pizzas after my show.
Resting all the time. Low steps.
A lot. It was just, you know what, actually, I say I didn't manage my prep. I actually would say I managed my prep quite well. I think it was just near the end when, as I've touched on a lot, it's quite a physically demanding job that we do. and when you're warming up classes, when you're warming up clients, when you're picking up weights, near the end, I was so tired. It was my forearms that just hurt so much. And yeah, near the end, I was just a bit more snippy. I think my poor mother took the brunt of it a little bit. She's also not great at reading the room with stuff, to be fair, on me. But yeah, I was just a bit snipper, a little bit snipper. And I like food. So when that's pulled away from me, I don't like life. Or people. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, nothing.
But yeah. No, people can manage it quite well, and some people don't manage it as well, because some people just see food as energy, whereas I miss flavours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I went through a period of, especially uni, just seeing food as like convenient.
Yeah, this is petrol to fill up the tank. Yeah,
I could eat such bland food, to be fair. But really? Yeah, I
need flavours, man. I love cooking. That's the thing. It's like one of my hobbies. So yeah, going to kind of having stuff where it's kind of like the same thing like every other day. And then, you know, when you reduce it, you can't have sauces near the end and stuff that's got extra calories in. It gets a bit peak. Black coffees.
Like my post surgery, all of my meals was just like, I had my one like shake. It's just the same. To be fair, I still have it if I'm like today,
it's
really
great.
busy. I'm like, I'll have it. It really doesn't taste that nice.
Oh,
even like one of my clients.
It smells nice.
The peanut butter and vanilla.
Yeah,
I mean it is all right. It's just I wouldn't really recommend it to someone.
Bland. Is it bland?
It's very bland.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have a banana this morning. So
Charles, you get the swetness.
So it's just like
got whack a date in there. The date that you chewed on earlier. They're good.
Whack a date in it.
Nice bit of sweetness.
But I could probably just like, you know, have an injection of nutrition sometimes and be like, right, cool.
A nourishment. You know those cans, what they're called, nourishment? You get them from like a
Huel.
Corner shops. Yeah, well, nourishment's been around for a long time. That's not a Huel. They're like they're kind of like just a high protein milkshake, but they come in a can.
Right.
We can clip it. We can put one up. Yeah, but
I try not to make my chocolate milk into that because I love my chocolate milk.
Yeah.
And sometimes I might just have it and it's down in like 20 seconds. I'm like, oh,
I enjoy it.
I didn't enjoy that.
It's in the fridge.
I still got
saw it. I thought, ooh, that looks nice. I used to love when I was at uni, so I don't really have that much milk because I'm slightly lactose intolerant. So I used to love the Oatly, the chocolate Oatly. That's really good. Really chocolate Oatly. So chocolate oat milk. I can chug them. They're good.
I could back that, to be fair. I'm not a massive oat milk fan, being the
I love oat milk.
Son of a dad who owns a coffee van.
Milky boy.
Milk boy.
Milkman.
Charlie Milk Boy. That's what they used to call me at school.
Instead of Mocha fella, you're Milky fella.
Not Mocha son. My dad owns a coffee van and
Mocha
been doing barista-ing since I was 14ish.
You got to have good oat milk to make a nice oatmeal latte as well. If you get the wax stuff, it's just doesn't foam well.
Doesn't foam. But we've kind of gone through the whole phase of like when we started working, it was just standard coffee. It was an Americano. It was a latte. There wasn't even a flat white involved. And now it's like, oh my goodness, there's everything. Yeah. And we go, hold up a second. That's way too much.
And also,
let's keep it simple over here, guys.
Yeah, it's when you get into the arty-farty barista stuff, isn't it? I think you get the classic Brits that like when I used to be a barista, you get people coming in and like, can I have a coffee with milk, please? You're like, okay, what kind of coffee is that? Is that a flat white? Is that a latte? Is that a macchiato? Or is it Americano with hot milk, Americano with cold milk? Like you have to, and then they're just like, I just want a coffee with milk.
Give me a coffee.
Yeah, Americano with milk, please. They don't get it. Would you like a long black, sir? Slightly smaller Americano. Just like coffee, milk.
Fuck off.
Fuck it off. Yeah, exactly. Oh dear.
Well, Charlotte. Thank you.
Charlotte.
Charlotte. The ski erg is calling once again.
Oh, Charles, you got a skedaddle, buddy.
Yeah, got to get going, and then got to have a rest day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Monitor this hay fever.
Sleep well, like a baby.
I will sleep well.
Yeah, good boy.
Steve sleeps well. Right. Oh, it's a Peter Crouch podcast reference.
Oh. I was like, who the fuck is Steve?
All right. Well, if you made it to the end, drop a follow, drop a like, and comment of your favourite bit of this conversation.
Like, comment, and subscribe for more jargon.
Exactly. All right. See you in the next one.
Thank you, Charlie.